Thanks very much for speaking with Blue Notes, Lex. The next phase of the Royal Commission has just wound up, and the focus was very much on financial planning and financial advice. And to be frank, some of what was aired in that commission was quite disturbing. In the latest ANZ result, Shane Elliott said that we wouldn't be waiting to the end of the commission before ANZ started to act. So I'm just interested in what does that entail? You know, what did you see that came out of this latest round, and what are you going to do in essence?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Royal Commission hearings have been quite confronting, and while none of the issues associated at ANZ were particularly new and certainly weren't new to me, I think when you step back and listen to what happened over those 2 weeks, you've got to, as an industry leader, be pretty confronted by that. So what are we doing? Look, we've really heard the community concern, and we want to rebuild trust and confidence in advice, because I think advice is incredibly important. We live in a world in Australia where, you know, superannuation is the second biggest asset for most people. It's complex. I don't understand it. How on earth does everybody in the world understand it? So we need to rebuild that trust. So what are we going to do, and what did I hear? Firstly, I heard several messages from the Commission, but the first one was we have to remediate our customers who have suffered from bad advice more quickly. Like, I can rationalise why it takes so long, but I understand that is no excuse. We've got to do it faster. So we've pretty much given an open checkbook to our remediation teams to go faster and get it done by the end of this year. The second thing for me is professionalism. Like, we've got to build a profession for planning and for advice. And to do that, we have to insist on education standards. So for our planners in ANZ, they'll have to, if they're coming into our business, adhere to the requirements of the industry now. Also, for our existing planners, we want them to start getting those education requirements well ahead of what the industry requires. And I think the third element for us is we've got to restore this trust and confidence. For me, there's a few key things we're going to do. Firstly, forget the balanced scorecards for our planners we've talked about. We're going to 3 key indicators. Customer, how satisfied is the customer with our service? Secondly, they've got to adhere to our risk and compliance standards. 2 strikes, they go into disciplinary procedures, no exceptions. And the third one is we will offer free advice to anyone who is concerned. So come in and see the planners, and we'll give you a review of where you're at. So that's adhering to the values of ANZ. So that's the changes we're making, Andrew.
And that sounds very good, Lex, on paper in essence, but ANZ's actually selling out of some of its planning and its wealth businesses to Zurich and IWF. Does that impact these sorts of initiatives that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's important to be really clear. We're keeping the planners that work in our branches with the ANZ customers every day. So we are not selling that part of our business. Yes, we have sold the life insurance business to Zurich. We've sold our aligned dealer groups and our superannuation business to IWF. And there was good reason for that. You know, we don't have the capacity to be able to focus and invest on those businesses, and we want to partner with someone who can. But we're retaining the planners that live in branches. We need to service our customers around their financials, and so we think it's incredibly important that that stays with the bank. As I said, superannuation and the like, second biggest asset of our customers, so we have to be able to give them the good advice around that.
Because it's not just ANZ, we've seen other banks selling out of different elements of the wealth and super and financial advice business, but it's still a business that a bank should be in?
Look, I believe, and I really, really believe this, I think it's incredibly important as a bank who's trying to help the well-being of our customers that we have advice for those customers who want to seek it. Yeah, it has to be good advice, no doubt about that. We can't have advice that's not in the best interests of the customers, and we're absolutely committed to that. But I think it's a really important offering from a bank like ours when we're trying to look at solutions for the customers holistically. So I think it's really important we retain that.
And these sort of initiatives that you've spoken about now, they're actually starting now. It's not a matter of waiting till the Commission finishes.
Absolutely not. Look, I'm sure the Commission's going to come up with some recommendations. We'll have to think about those as it does come up with the recommendations. But, you know, as an executive responsible for this business, I found some of the last weeks confronting. We're going to make these changes now. So we are going to do remediation faster, and we've put the resources into that already. We are going to make the changes around the planners in the branches, as I just discussed, and we're going to continue to invest in the technologies that are available now. Artificial intelligence, data analytics, they're things we didn't have 5 years ago, and we can invest in those. That gives us a better idea about what's going on immediately rather than a year later or 6 months later.
Well, thanks very much, Lex, for your time. I'm sure the community and the Commission will be watching closely. So good luck with how that goes, and thanks for talking with Blue Notes.
Thank you, Andrew.